I will hurt you for this.
I am the sword in the darkness.
Lion doesn't concern himself with the opinions of the sheep.
Let me give you some advice, bastard.
Chaos isn't a pit. Chaos is a ladder.
The dragons dance, and men are like dust under their feet.
There will be no mercy!
What is up, everybody? Jeremy Eisenfire here, and welcome to the channel. With Season 2 of House of the Dragon coming to a close, fans have been wondering all year just how exactly will this second season end. And with the last few episodes laying the groundwork and foreshadowing multiple big events that are on the horizon, it's getting harder and harder to predict just exactly where the show will go and adapt next. And today, we're going to take a look at a few of those big events that the show has been hinting at to hopefully see if Season 2 will end on any of these big events, or if they plan on saving all of the really good stuff for Season 3. And of course, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already, and join the Winter Wolves. Season 2 has definitely had its highs and its lows, and one thing that we are certainly noticing is they are not shy from straying a little bit from the source material from time to time. Which certainly isn't always a bad thing necessarily. At the end of the day, sometimes things just don't always translate from book to screen, and sometimes we can even improve upon an already existing story, very much like they vastly improved the character of King Viserys in Season 1. And in some cases, it can even add an extra layer of excitement with fans guessing what is going to be happening next, instead of always knowing what is happening next. And Season 2 of House of the Dragon has certainly strayed into that territory from time to time, which of course has a lot of fans wondering just where this second season is going to end. And based off the last few episodes and the teaser trailer for the finale, it looks like they are setting up at least 3 or 4 massive events on the horizon, starting off first with the Battle of the Red Fork. Over the back half of Season 2, they have made a very specific point to show us this Lannister army that has been on the move for multiple episodes up till this point, which of course is being led by Sir Tywin's twin, Jason Lannister, who of course is the commander of the forces in the Battle of the Red Fork, which takes place between the forces of House Lannister and the forces of the Riverlands, led by House Piper. The battle takes place at a crossing along the Red Fork in the Westerlands, with the Lannister army attacking the outnumbered Rivermen and trying to force the crossing 3 different times, with the forces of the Rivermen managing to push them back each time. Yet on the 3rd attempt, the commander of the Lannister army, Jason Lannister, would end up being killed in combat by a grizzled squire named Pate of Longleaf. Yet the killing of Jason Lannister, the commander of the Lannister forces, proved not to be as detrimental as one might have thought, as now they were led by Adrian Tarback, who seemed to be a much more capable commander, as he and 100 other knights would shed their armor and start swimming up the Red Fork beyond the fighting, only to come up behind the forces of Lord Tristan Vance and utterly breaking the Riverlands forces, with Adrian Tarback dealing the killing blow to Lord Tristan Vance himself. And as cool as it would be to see this battle on screen, the Battle of the Red Fork doesn't exactly scream House of the Dragon season finale material. Which of course brings us to the next big battle that they have been foreshadowing, the Battle of the Gullet. Now, if Fire and Blood were a guide, the Battle of the Gullet is the next big battle that takes place chronologically, which turns out to be not only one of the bloodiest battles in the entire Dance of the Dragons, but one of the bloodiest sea battles in the history of Westeros. And Season 2 has already been foreshadowing this event for the last few episodes or so, ever since Rhaenyra has sent her youngest sons, Aegon and Viserys, on a ship across the Narrow Sea, a ship that in Fire and Blood gets intercepted by the Triarchy, the same Triarchy that Aemond has just sent Tyland to go treat with.
I have a task for you as well, Sir Dylan. We will make an alliance with the Triarchy. I've had enough of this cursed blockade.
So as you can see, they have definitely been laying the groundwork for the Battle of the Gullet to take place. The only question now is, will it happen in Season 2, or will this be an event that they are saving for Season 3? And much like the Battle above Rook's Rest, the Battle of the Gullet is also a major turning point in the war, with heavy losses being suffered on both sides. After securing an alliance with the Triarchy, they would begin sailing into Blackwater Bay in hopes of breaking the blockade around King's Landing, But unfortunately for Rhaenyra, the Triarchy would run smack dab into the ship carrying her 2 youngest sons, and would intercept it, with young Viserys being taken captive by the Triarchy, while young Aegon managed to escape on his dragon, but not without his dragon taking heavy damage and dying not long after making it to Dragonstone. But with the show massively aging down young Aegon and his dragon, I get the feeling we will not be getting that scene of him escaping on Stormcloud, which instead might lead to both of them getting captured instead of just one. And when Jace hears of this, he becomes furious and wants to fly out to save his brothers at once, and is also accompanied by the newly acquired Dragonseeds. And while they begin to make very quick work of the Triarchy fleet, eventually their luck runs out, with Jace and Vermax unfortunately flying too close to the sea and crashing, some say thanks to a crossbow bolt that Vermax takes in the eye, with the dragon ultimately drowning when it becomes tangled within the rigging of a sinking ship. Jace, however, manages to jump off of his dragon and lands in the sea, only to be surrounded by the Triarchy, who unloads a flurry of arrows into the prince, killing him instantly, with both Jace and his dragon Vermax sinking beneath the waves. And of course, the Battle of the Gullet is definitely the perfect kind of big spectacle that you would come to see in a penultimate episode or in a finale, but I could totally understand if they wanted to go a different route and not have Rhaenyra have one of her sons die in both of the finales and risk feeling repetitive. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see when the Battle of the Gullet takes place. But regardless, I am sure it is going to be quite the spectacle when it does come around. There is, of course, one other final battle that Season 2 could potentially end off on, a battle that I didn't even consider until I saw the Episode 8 preview, and the reveal of Tessarion and Daeron the Daring. With Daeron and the forces of House Hightower moving north, there is one other battle they could potentially shove into the end of Season 2, that being the Battle of the Honeywine, a battle between the forces of House Hightower and forces loyal to Rhaenyra in the Reach, with the Blacks starting off seemingly looking like victory was at hand, until Daeron the Daring entered the battlefield with his dragon Tessarion, severely tipping the scales in favor of the Greens. When all was said and done, the battle would go on to be a major loss for Team Black, and would be the very battle where Daeron earns his nickname, Daeron the Daring. And again, as cool as this battle would be to see, I get the feeling this is most likely going to be a Season 3 event, and they are most likely just setting up Daeron for the next season. But definitely let me know down in the comment sections, do you think we will see any of these massive battles at the end of Season 2, or will Season 2 potentially end in a different route? At this point, I suppose I wouldn't be too surprised if there were no battles in the finale at all, with Season 2 ending on a completely different note entirely. And I have even heard some fans theorizing that Season 2 might end with the fall of King's Landing, and while I think that is a little bit unlikely, I suppose anything is possible. But definitely let me know what you think down below. And that is going to do it for us today. I want to give a big thank you to everybody out there for watching, and if you haven't already, smash that like on your way out, and consider subscribing to stay up to date on all of our upcoming content, and as always, keep those tinfoil hats on, folks, and I will see you on the next one.
The dragons dance, and men are like dust under their feet.